Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble!
Y'all ready for this?
Okay, everybody, so we're going to bring up the supplies so we can get started on the card. Now, as I said, I got this idea from Bird, and her blog is birdscards.com, and I will put a link up here in the video and also in the description bar on how you can do this technique for this card. So now, we've already gone through and laid our image out on the silhouette. So you should have, if you're making this card along with me, you should have this piece. This is your main base piece of your card, and I just cut that out on some plain white cardstock, and this is actually some of the Recollections white cardstock. I didn't want to use the Georgia Pacific because, and that's Walmart's brand, because I sometimes have trouble cutting intricate cuts with that cardstock. But as you can see with the Recollections cardstock, it came out, and I see we have one piece here that didn't, so I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife real quick and cut that piece out, and then we can continue with our card. And I noticed there's some other pieces, so let me get these pieces out and then we'll continue. Okay, everybody, it was just a couple of pieces. So now what I've done, as I said, remember that this was going to be a stained glass look, and I did get this idea from Bird's website. This is my final piece. So now what I did to get this is, and she calls this the stained glass look, is I did go ahead and cut out that one piece in the white cardstock, and then I cut the other piece using vellum. And this does cut, as I said, it does cut well. So I went ahead and glued the other piece that's on the back of here to my top layer, and then I flipped it over, and then I colored it in with my Copic markers, and I used the Distress ink markers that I got from Skylar. So Skylar, I am coloring now. I know I always say I use my markers for my airbrush system, but I decided to do a little coloring today. So the color that I used for the leaf piece is the peeled paint of the Distress marker, and then for the piece within here, I used the Spun Sugar Distress marker, and then to get my darker pieces up at the top of the tulips, I used the Copic marker, and this is RV04, and it's called Shock Pink. So what you will do is glue your vellum onto the back of here. Now, because the glue shows up, you need to use, or what I used was this glue pen. It's called Quickie Glue, and I'm not sure who this is by, but I used this because it has a ballpoint tip on it, and in that way I was able to glue. I just went and put it around the edges of the vellum and on the edges of the top layer, so I could glue that down. And then you want to do your coloring on the opposite side. So now, the other thing that I've done is I use the silhouette markers to make my inside piece that's going to go on top here. And I purchased those online, but I believe you can get them. Some Michaels are starting to carry them. So I basically did the outline of the Happy Mother's Day, and then I took my Specca pens, which look like this, and then I colored it in. And the color that I used was the mint, which is color 17. So that's going to go in the center of our card. So let's go ahead and put in the center. And I've marked this with the pencil so I kind of know where to put my center circle here. So what we're going to do is get some tape on here. But before we do that, I think I want to run this through one of my Cutterbug folders. Okay, so now I've got my circle. I've gone ahead and used my favorite Cutterbug folder, which is the Swiss Dots, and I was almost in a panic because I couldn't find it. I never put it away from the last project. So let's just get some, take the Tombow and get some tape on here, and then we're going to add that. Get tape all the way around, and then I'm just going to line up with the marks that I made and make sure we're able to close it up. The other thing is I want to make sure I got this creased all the way down, so I'm just going to take my Teflon bone folder and press it all the way in. So now we've got our image. So now we're going to go ahead and add our tulip ring. Now what I did, because the Quickie glue pen does not stick the way I would like it to, so I went back and used the Aqua Tombow liquid glue because it has that point tip on it, and I used that to actually put my vellum down, because the one thing you don't want to use is, I didn't want to use the white glue or my quick dry adhesive because I was afraid that even though it does dry clear that it was going to show through. So I went back and just added that wet glue, that Tombow Aqua wet glue. And I want this to slightly pop up just a little bit. So what I'm using on here is just some of the dots, and I'm just taking my piercing tool and just putting them in the spots where you can't really see through the vellum piece. And I've added just a few on here already, so I'm just going to add just a few more, and then we're going to turn this on around and put it on the card. So I think I've gotten enough on there that it should stick okay. So I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to line it up, and it might be hard to see with this white cardstock and this white paper underneath, but you kind of want to line up your tulips like so. So now you have your stained glass look. So let's finish adding our embellishments on the card. So what I've done is I've also popped my centerpiece up with the Happy Mother's Day, and that's going to go right there. So let's go ahead and take the tape backing off of those, and we'll add those to the card. So really putting this card together is really simple. It's just actually laying it out on the mat and getting it the way you want, because when I cut it the first time, Bird's cards come in on an, she has them set up on an A7 mat, and so when I went and changed that so that I could cut it out on a 12 by 12 mat and cut it at the width that the card came in on, as it came out to be this size, and that was way too small for what I wanted. I really wanted a 5.5 by 5.5, so I had to do a lot of tweaking to get it the size that I want, and we went over that when I showed you how to cut it out using the Silhouette Designer software. So we're just going to lay this right here and press that down. And then I've taken my Cherry Lynn dies, and I'm using the Lace Corner Deco E, which is B165. And I have punched out 4 corners here that we're going to lay in one in each corner, like so. And I have one more. And we're going to lay that down. And then we're going to add our little butterfly down here, right there. So I'm going to go ahead and lay all this out and glue it down. And of course, add my bling, and I'll come back with the finished card. Okay, everybody, so I am back with my finished card. So I'm going to go over what I did. I did go ahead and glue down my 4 corners. And you remember those are from the Cherry Lynn dies. And then I've added my bling. I've put some bling in each corner of the corners. And then I've gone ahead and taken and added some bling in the tip of each of the tulips. Now this was the bling for the IROC tool, and I was able to go ahead and push this down on the vellum, and it worked perfectly fine. And then I've added some bling in here with the Happy Mother's Day, and then I've gone ahead and punched out or die cutted my little butterfly, and that is also a Cherry Lynn butterfly. It is from the Mini Dimensional Butterflies with Angels, and that's D as in David 138, and they look like this. And as you recall, I showed these on the last haul that I did. So now I wanted to send my mother a little gift, or actually a little check for her to go ahead and have a spa day. So on the back of here, because I didn't want to put it in the inside of the card, I've gone ahead and made this little pocket or a little purse. And this is just some cardstock that is from the DCWV paper stack called All About Girls Stack. And what I did was I took the cardstock measures 4.5 by 6.5, and I took and cut that in half, so that's 3.25 in length, and I kept the 4.5 inch in the width, and I scored in 1/4 inch on all 4 sides. And then I just took that and glued it down, or actually I used some double-sided tape. And then I've added this little twine piece here as a handle. And then I took some rolled flowers, and these are from the My Favorite Things die, and rolled out some roses. And then I have my stamp here on the back. So I'll just stick the little check down inside there. So now I've also made an envelope, and I use my Ultimate Crafters enveloper to make my envelope. And I also used that to make my bow. I didn't use the Bow Easy this time. And I've added a butterfly in the center. And these are some Martha Stewart butterfly. And I've got that from Skylar. So thank you, Skylar, for the butterflies. So that's it, everybody. That's the end of my series. This was just a really quick series for Mother's Day cards. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.